The views expressed on Talk Real Solutions, hosted by Tyrone Thompson at talkrealsolutions.com, are the views of Tyrone Thompson and do not reflect the views of talkrealsolutions.com, YouTube, or etc. The content here belongs to Talk Real Solutions and its many contributors. Views and opinions expressed by all contributors belong to them and not talkrealsolutions.com or Tyrone Thompson, the host, or etc. All data and information provided on the site is for informational purposes only. Talk Real Solutions makes no representations as to accuracy, completeness, correctness, suitability, or validity of any information on this site and will not be liable for any errors, omissions, or delays in this information or any losses, injuries, or damages arising from its display or use. All information is provided on an as-is basis.
Let's see if where the hell? Oh, there you go. Test, test, test. Let's see if we on the air now. There we go. All right, all right, all right. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. This is Talk Real Solutions, and I am your host tonight, Tyrone Thompson. And I want to thank you for tuning in. Today is October the 16th, 2024. And if you want to join the conversation, live on the air, all you have to do is call the number at 1717-908-1834 and hit the access code at 917324, and I'll get you on the show here, and you could enjoy the conversation, or you can add to the conversation, or you can do whatever the hell you want to do. Well, no, you can't. I ask, like I always ask, is that we try to have a civil discussion and exchange ideas back and forth. So whoever's listening to the show can hear what we're talking about. Um, Here we are again. Well, it's the season of Halloween, trick or treat, and candy. Uh, don't let your kids eat too much candy. I'm not going to eat a lot of candy. I'm not even going to eat any candy. I got to stay away from that sugar. You got to learn to stay away from that sugar when you get old. That stuff ain't no good for you, and your body don't process that stuff like it used to. But we are knee deep in the political season, as we all know, and I'm pretty sure the country is getting inundated with political ads and all kinds of things is going on. And like I say every week, I used to be like sitting on the edge of my seat waiting for the next event to happen. I used to have my nose stuck in every video, every news cycle. I used to watch Fox News, MSNBC, CNN, ABC, all of them. I never got into the new, the new news platforms like Newsmax and the other one. I think it's ONN or something like that. I never got into them. But my point is, I used to be just consuming this stuff all the time, and that stuff would drive you crazy. It have you nuts. So now, because I mean, the way it is there's so much information out there, you don't even have to look at it. Just like at around, I don't know, maybe 7:30 tonight, I seen that Kamala Harris had a interview on Fox News. So that seemed interesting to me. So I just found the YouTube video and I watched the interview. And I was very impressed at the way Kamala Harris um handled the Fox News interview. Wait a minute, hold on. I was very impressed the way Kamala Harris handled that interview with Brett Baer. And listen, this lady is ready to be president. Is compared to Joe Biden and Donald Trump. Kamala Harris is more qualified, and she I think that she would just represent the country a whole lot better than those two did. And nothing against Joe Biden, you know, I know he did his thing, and his administration achieved a lot, and all of that stuff. But you know, I've been trying to avoid going into my issues with the Democrat live on the air, without, because this political season is too important for anybody, even me, to get off message, if you will. But I can say this: going into the Biden administration, nominating him, he's had problems the entire time he's been in politics, especially with some of the career choices that he made. Um, I remember just off the top of my head his stance against Anita Hill, you know, and you know, there was some other stuff that Joe Biden did that I just didn't agree with. I didn't like the way he came into the race, uh, you know, knocking everybody out, specifically Bernie Sanders. I just didn't like that. But whenever he was head to head against Donald Trump, of course I'm going to choose Joe Biden over Donald Trump. That's just no brainer. You know, he's the Democrat nominee. Then yeah, I support the Democrat policies um, for what's best for America. So of course I'm going to get behind him. But at the same time, like I said, he had issues that I don't agree with, and some career decisions that he made, political decisions that he made that I don't agree with. But Kamala Harris is a different breed, and as the country gets exposed to her more and more, as I get exposed to her more and more, I'm actually looking at a person and not looking at uh, a woman. I'm not looking at whatever race she is. I'm looking at what she's saying and how she could represent this country as a leader. Um, so and looking at it from that angle, I say that she's way more qualified than either Trump or Biden. You know, and recently, she went on Charlemagne the God. I heard that on the radio as I was riding down the road. They was doing an interview, and in Chicago, and I don't know, but the narrative was that she has a problem with black men voters. Now, me personally, I don't see that, but clearly they're receiving data saying that the numbers aren't where they're supposed to be. And so when I seen that, I said, okay, well, what could be the issue? I mean, when you look at the other side and you see a racist, you see somebody who got what's his name? Stephen Miller, uh, Steve Bannon, the Proud Boys, the Fraternal Order of the Police, the KKK, David Duke. When you see that he says that he wants to give the police complete immunity. Whenever you see that when he was in office, Donald Trump didn't really try to do anything for Black America. And I'm not saying any politician. So I want to be careful when I make that statement, because I'm not saying that the Democrats would or the Republicans would, right? I'm just trying to ponder in my head why people think black men are less likely to support Kamala Harris, and I couldn't come up with no reason that made sense to me. But the only reason that I could come up with, and it was something that I was guilty of whenever we first heard about her running for office. One of the first things I said is, this country is not ready for a female president. And that is significant, I think, towards the way black men view things. Now, I came around, and that's because I can think on my feet, and my thinking evolves. And I don't I have to keep looking and re-examining things for it to make sense to me. But that point I want to make about when I said the country ain't ready for a woman president is because that's something that's been ingrained in us as men, as we don't look at women as leaders, right? We have been told that women can't do the job. We've always been, you hear it in the red pill conversation on social media about how women supposed to be nurturers. And the extreme of that is women supposed to stay home and have babies and cook. You hear ABC saying that dumb shit all the time. And I think that thought permeates the black community, men specifically, deeper than what we can see. And I think that maybe the reason that there seemed to be a hesitancy amongst black men supporting Kamala Harris, it might be that point. Because you can't look at Trump and say it's the policies. You can't look at Trump and know that when he has a propaganda outlet like Fox News, you can't look at Trump and say somehow or another he's going to fight for this equality or reparations or whatever black men are looking for. You can't look at him and say that he would be a better choice on any of those issues. So you have to pull back from all of this surface talking points and look at, well, why wouldn't black men really support Kamala Harris? And I think that might be it, because she's a woman. And we've heard people come on here. Well, when Ken was calling in, he was saying that Donald Trump is an alpha male and he represents manhood and all of that dumb shit. That and I hate to put all black men that ain't supporting Harris in a bucket, but I'm trying to come up with the single issue on why there seems to be a problem with the numbers there, and I think it is a gender thing. I don't know if you guys remember us having conversations about women being submissive, and you had a whole lot of people on social media saying the woman is God. And there was just a lot of sexist. People might look at that woman is God thing as a compliment, but it's not. It's not a compliment. That's putting you in a box, and it's telling you are responsible for a certain amount of things, and that's where you need to stay. So like I said, my thought has evolved. I wasn't going to stay there alone. Whenever I said this country ain't ready for a woman president, because I had to examine who the candidates were, and I had to listen to their political perspectives and their policies and who would best represent this nation. This is the things that I consider. Everybody don't think like me. Who would best represent this nation as a leader? And since our political situation is like it is, to where you only got one side or the other, and the other side is a known racist, a 34 count felon, someone who's been impeached twice, someone who have been found civilly liable of committing sexual assault, and the judge said it was rape. Someone who, in every one of his rallies, stands on the stage and lied to the American people. Someone who, as the commander in chief, didn't trust the military, didn't trust his generals. Someone who literally tried to overthrow the American democracy by giving a go to these phony slates of electors and trying to overturn the election. Someone who, in the first time in history, as the president of the United States, did not have a peaceful transfer of power. Someone who, to this day, and it's October the 16th, 2024, has not conceded the 2020 race. That's part of our political process. When the loser loses, the loser concedes and wish the winner good luck or well, or stand behind them. Or Donald Trump has not conceded the 2020 race. So whenever ABC or Sarge call in here and say there was a peaceful transfer of power, you can immediately look at them and say, well, when did he concede the 2020 race? Because he did not. So whenever you look at the race now as a black man, and you have to consider the history of what Donald Trump done since he was in office. You can't get away with it. You can't turn your head away and ignore the fact that he fired a lot of people in Washington, installed his flunkies, installed his family. I can't even remember a time. I don't remember a time where the president actually had his immediate family working in the White House and handling foreign nations on behalf of the country. I can't remember. There is not a time where the president had his brothers, his nieces, his daughters, his son-in-laws, and all this kind of crap going over to other foreign countries, strong-arming them for money, blatantly violating the Emoluments Clause, making money off of the office of the president, selling access. And we later found out that his pardon power as the president was up for sale too. People were paying a good amount of money. I remember people saying that they was paying $1 million for a pardon. Now, I'm not getting ready to Google all of that. I can, but your Google works too. But whenever you as a black man look at all of those things, and there's more that I just listed, and you even considering voting for or allowing, if you sit out the vote, allowing this man to get extra votes because of your non-vote and possibly winning, we're not. That doesn't calculate with me. That math doesn't math with me. But as I analyze our community like I do, I know that there is hurt, there is disappointment, there is frustration in our community amongst black men with the way this government handles black men. As a matter of fact, as I was listening to Charlemagne's and Kamala Harris's conversation in Chicago, there was one gentleman, and I guess I just tuned in the right time. He specifically asked about reparations, and Kamala Harris's answer wasn't satisfactory to me, because that guy was eloquent in his question. He was direct, and he asked VP Harris, would you look at reparations? Now, let me put a little disclaimer in here. I realize where I live at. I realize I live in America, and I realize that there is no political candidate that wants to win an election can ever say that they will support reparations. That's the reality of where we live at and the time that we live in. But somehow or another, the conversation has got elevated, and there's nothing wrong with that either, to the point to where this question is now getting asked in presidential races. But like I said, the Kamala Harris answer wasn't satisfactory to me, because she went through a litany of things that she would do to help uplift Americans, and all of those things would support our community. And the thing she said about reparations is that it needs to be studied. And I don't know if you ever listened to me for half a second on reparations. I think that's bullshit. As long as HR 40 been up there in Washington, as long as we've been in this damn country, and when you look at the social climate, the environment, the culture that has been developed around discrimination, racism in this country, when you look at the disparity in wealth, when you look at the prison industrial complex and see that the ratio of black men incarcerated is much higher than any other group, when you look at the targeting of black communities and by police officers, when you look at the overwhelming deaths of black people and just simple as police stops, there's nothing, and I could go on and on. When you look at the lack of access to property, real estate, finances, education, when you look at the medical mistreatment of black women, there is no reason why black women should be having the highest mortality rate in this country. That makes no sense to me. So to study, what the fuck do America needs to study when it comes to reparation? The study is already done. The study is complete. And the results of that study is that white America has determined that history doesn't matter, and they're going to continue to be discriminatory. They're going to continue to deny access. They're going to continue to incarcerate us. They're going to continue, this country is going to continue to underrepresent us. The study has been done. There is no study that needs to be done about what is owed to Black America. What needs to be studied? Do you need to study if the police kills us more than anybody else unarmed? Do you need to study the amount of Black men that is incarcerated and taken out of the communities and their homes in this country? Do you need to study the denial of access to resources in this country when it comes to property, real estate? Do you need to study that the fact that Black women have the highest mortality rate of any demographic? What needs to be studied when it comes to reparation? So I don't buy that answer. The study of reparations and what was due to us is just kicking the can, kicking the conversation down the road. I mean, there was a time where all the studying that needs to be done could have got done and can still get done with the results of in the 60s of the civil rights era, right? Here it is, I don't know, 100 years later, and the knee-jerk answer to reparation is that it need to be studied. So there's a frustration there. But even with that frustration on my behalf, that doesn't push me away from allowing Donald Trump to take the reins again. Just the real conversation needs to be had about reparations in this country. And if somebody like me can understand that response is being blown off, it's not really taking us serious, it's not really looking at us living in these low-income areas of this country due to redlining, you're not taking this serious. So if you are the Democrats, who is obviously scared to say or just part of the problem when it comes to reparation conversation, because you're scared white America is going to reject you, then I'm not crazy. Just you need to work on your messaging. That is why you're so highly educated. That is why you went to these elite universities and got all of these degrees, so you can find a way to communicate what is needed. And if you find a way to communicate what is needed to the Black community, then I guarantee you wouldn't even be having this conversation about the lack of support amongst Black men. They always try to keep it political. They always try to, I don't know, skate over the fact, and you can go in your own communities. Listen, I've never been one to look at my community, no matter how bad Kanisha and Ray Ray and Pookie, I don't give a shit how bad it looks whenever they're doing whatever they're doing. I don't agree with it. I don't support it, right? But my mind goes to the bigger picture of how this government is at fault of the conditions of our community. This government is at fault. That is why we live in the ghettos. This government who denied resources, who closed down black schools, who denied access to education. This government is at fault. And this government needs to step up to the plate and take accountability for the condition that my people are in. And as long as people keep ignoring it, like I said, they're going to keep having this conversation election cycle after election cycle about the lack of support from black people. Now, like I said, I'm not one of those people who's not going to withhold my vote. I'm going to go vote for Kamala Harris. That is a sure thing. But like I said, they having this conversation about why black men are not supporting the Democrat Party in numbers like there were. You know, and I don't see that, like I said, but there's clearly something there because they're having a conversation. And once again, it could be a couple of things. It's the way they're talking to us. It's the way they just blow us off and tell us that reparation needs to be studied. Or it could be something as simple as black men can't see a woman as a leader. We've had that conversation here on the show. And we've even had women call in and say, you know, there's a place for us and there's a place for men. You know, so that's deeply ingrained in us, and that may be a problem. I don't know. But those are things that they need to talk about. And if that is one of the situations with black men to where they can't see a woman leader, fuck, it's 2024. You know, shit. It's okay. It's not the 1800s no more. It's okay for women to be in charge. You know, it's not one of these things to where, and then you got the whole indoctrination of the religious aspect to where that Bible clearly tells you that the woman has a place, and we are heavily religious. You know, I think at some point in time you need to leave those thoughts or separate those thoughts and put certain thoughts on the shelf when it comes to certain things. You need to put your religion on the shelf if you're dealing with politics, and put your politics on your shelf when you go to church on Sunday. You're going to have to separate those things because they don't go hand in hand. As much as you try to force them, as much as you think that whatever philosophy you got dictates your decisions whenever it comes to politics, I think that's really misguided. Because if your politics and your religion is mixing, and your religion is telling you that a man's supposed to be in charge and a woman is not, then now you're telling me your religion is telling you that a 34 count felon, a guy who's been civilly found liable for rape, a guy who steals from people, a guy who's been impeached twice, a guy who tried to overturn the United States government, a guy who's just a piece of shit all the way around, should be in charge, compared to someone who's been climbing the ladder of success when it comes to law, being a prosecutor, being a state's attorney, being a vice president, and having a clean slate. You're telling me the freaking dirty piece of shit is more qualified than somebody who's actually worked their way up the ladder and just so happened to be a woman? That is illogical to me. You know, and the conversations we had over here about Kamala Harris and who her daddy is and whether she's Indian or black and all of these things, you know, I've had to grow mentally myself when it comes to certain things. And you can't look at this race right here and say that you got a choice. You know, not unless you were wholeheartedly embracing that you are a sexist, that you agree with taking women's rights away from them, which was done up under Donald Trump Supreme Court justices, that you agree that somebody with 34 fucking felonies should lead this nation. That you agree that somebody who denigrates our military and calls soldiers suckers and losers should be in charge, should be the commander in chief. It, it makes no sense to me. And that's why when I talk to these guys that support the Republican Party or Donald Trump, it's like I don't think, or they're really good at hiding it. I don't think that they realize that they are racist, that they hate their own people, because you're supporting somebody with the rhetoric that hates you, that don't give a damn about you, and you think that you're going to benefit by coming out going against what I would say is the majority of your people, you know. So I think that black men are having a conversation, and I think that they need to continue to have the conversation because it's all about growth. It's all about discovering and enlightening yourself, and it's all about. So I don't think that it's bad that the conversation is being had amongst our community about what this country, what this government owes to us, because it does owe us. There is no doubt in my mind about this government is still holding us, I don't know, under a quasi apartheid, if you will. Let me see if I got the, you know, I got to Google my words and see if I'm right. Yeah, I think that I used the right word there. We're not up under apartheid like South Africa was. But if you look at the definition of apartheid, it said refers to the implementation and the maintenance of a system of legalized racial segregation in which one racial group is deprived of political and civil rights. The apartheid is a crime against humanity, punishable by the Rome Statute under international court. So when I'm using that to describe the conditions that African Americans are in, I can clearly look at the segregation in this country and tell you that we are segregated. When you look at the access to housing, the things that I just listed off, the access to medical care, the fair treatment in the justice system, access to resources, land. There is a segregation in this country still. Access to education. You know, we would like to think that we're on an even playing field, but we're not. Don't be fooled by thinking that you can do the same thing that Betty can do down the goddamn street. That's just not true. You know, and I'm not taking away from the fact that there are a lot of people in the African American community that has, you know, did their thing, and they're chopping away at it constantly. And you could just look straight at the celebrities that have made it and see that sometimes, you know, that apartheid mentality kicks in, right? I don't know if you remember not too long ago when Whoopi Goldberg thought that she was one of them, you know. And they turned on her quick. You know, when I think what she said was Jewish is not a race. That was her. Simple, accurate comment. And they tried to tear her a new one. They told her she wasn't a Jew. And she been walking around here with the last name Goldberg, pretending that she's a damn Jew, right? That's what Goldberg is. Whoopi Goldberg claims that she's a Jew, and I'm not taking that from her. It's just that she got a wake up call whenever she made that comment on television, and she was correct that Jew is not a race. Um, those Jewish people didn't want to hear that, and that black woman got put in her place real quick. And she became, her looked like her real name is Karen Elaine Johnson. Whoopi Goldberg became Karen Elaine Johnson real quick when she made that comment because they won't having it. So, like I'm saying, there is segregation in this country. Um, what else is going on? Well, we haven't. Well, I haven't spoke on let me before I say anything, let me just make sure that I got this right. Now, we've been talking about Israel and its war on the Palestinians, right? So let me just first say that Israel got a right to find Hamas and do whatever they need to do to Hamas. Well, I have issues at is that they're not only looking for Hamas, they're killing Palestinians. Now, I ain't got no dog in this fight. I mean, I really don't have no, because I know that the Palestinians, they're not. And I'm just say what I got to say. But the Israel have been going around and they've been trying to literally genocide the Palestinians. And then a couple of weeks ago, I think it was, I heard that Israel shot off in some damn rockets in Lebanon. And I'm like, wait a minute, is Lebanon in Israel? No. Lebanon is a completely different goddamn country. And because the United States and the Europeans and whoever is in accord with Israel did not call this bullshit out and allowed Israel to just go through and kill motherfuckers at will. Israel is shooting missiles into fucking India and shooting Iran and shooting missiles into Lebanon, and they just over there cutting the goddamn fool. And if you say anything remotely close to what I'm saying, you'll be considered anti-Semitic. But somebody needs to pull the goddamn chain on Israel and tell them to stop acting like Vladimir Putin, or which I know this ain't gonna happen, the United States need to cut ties with that terrorist motherfucking country. I said it because they're committing terrorism right now. And then they're gonna have us, because the United States is so hell bent on because the United States, hold on. Oh my goodness. I was just talking about, hey, what's up, MJ? I was just in here running my mouth. And what I just realized, well, I didn't realize, my daughter called me and she said, "What you doing, Daddy?" I said, "I'm doing my little thing on YouTube." And she said, "Today is not Thursday." And I was like, "What in the hell am I doing?" That's what happens when you get old. You start doing shit. So I'll still come on tomorrow night, but I stay on here. I didn't know today wasn't Thursday. So I apologize, y'all. I'm on a day early for some damn reason. I'm on here, I guess, because when I seen Kamala Harris handling Fox News, I got all excited because she did her damn thing on Fox News, and I don't know, but I'm here. So what I'll try to entertain y'all as much as I can. I don't know because people aren't aware that I'm here. If anybody's going to call in, but if not, I'll talk for a little while, and then when I run out of shit to say, I'll just get off the phone. And if y'all want to call in, you can call in at 717 908 1834. But what I was saying about Israel is that because Israel didn't get checked, because they allowed Israel to commit genocide, Israel is just murdering people and causing all kinds of unrest over there in that part of the world. And because the United States don't have a spine when it comes to Israel, now they got to support all of this dumb shit that Israel is doing. And the relationship with the United States and Israel is strictly goddamn a religious fucking prophecy. And I know people don't like to hear that conversation, but that's all it is. People would say because of the location and access to that part of the world. No, that ain't what it is. And it's a stupid ass relationship, right? Because these Christians in the United States are supporting the Jewish people who don't even believe that the Christian God is a real God. It's just fucked up. But there's some type of prophecy that says whenever revelations or resurrection or whatever the fuck comes, right? That's the land that everybody's supposed to be in or some bullshit. I don't even know no more. I had these conversations in the past, but that area of the world is where God or somebody's supposed to come back to, right? And that's the basis of our relationship with damn Israel. It ain't got shit to do with politics. It ain't got shit to do with politics. It ain't got shit to do with any of that. It's based off of that dumbass philosophy that somehow or another the chosen one is coming back and in that part of the world and we Christians, and it's just crazy. And they're killing people behind this shit. But my point is, Israel has lost its ever-loving mind by just going through killing people. They're no better than Vladimir Putin. And I know the Ukrainians, they're fucking racist. So it's kind of hard to give support to them too. But I know Vladimir Putin is a fucking tyrant, and he don't give a shit. Vladimir Putin will kill you in front of any goddamn body. It's one of these things to where Israel is acting just like Vladimir Putin, and we speaking all kinds of shit about Vladimir Putin and telling people how terrible he is. But whenever you change directions and look over there at Israel, right, they're doing the same identical thing. And ain't nobody saying shit about what Israel is doing. So that's Israel. Now, the title of my show is Kamala Harris Dog Walk Fox News. And I don't know if you guys seen that interview, but I have it. Of course I do. And I'm going to share it so people can hear it. And I think it was interesting because it takes this black Indian woman to have enough galls to stand up to that propaganda network and just say what the fuck it is. I don't know why people who don't want to go on Fox or don't want to be confronted by that media outlet and actually call Donald Trump what the hell he is. But Kamala Harris went into the lion's den and she actually stood her ground when it came to this fucking Fox News interview, right? And it wasn't perfect. It was not perfect, but hold on, I got the damn. Hold on, I got to get the MP3. It wasn't perfect, but at least there that shows you that this lady is ready to take on all comers. And when the Democrats, well, most of them are scared to even show their face on Fox News. So during that interview, Kamala Harris was calling Fox News, calling Donald Trump out, and Brett Baer was trying to throw like little, I don't know, little hints or little fucking side diss and trying to throw her off her game. But that lady showed that she was presidential, and that's why I say that, if black men got a problem with Kamala Harris, I don't get it. If you're being honest, and you care about this country, how can you have a problem with Kamala Harris? That means, because, like I said, the way our politics work, you're either gonna be for one or the other. That ain't my rules. That's just the way they made the system. I'm not saying that it's right, and I'm not saying that I agree with it, but you either gonna vote for a Democrat, or you're gonna vote for a Republican, or you're gonna throw your damn vote away, which allows that person you didn't vote for to have access to one more vote. That's just the way it is, because your vote is subtracted from the whole process. And that's why I was telling people it was dumb as hell when ADOS was talking about this vote down ballot and not voting for the top of the ticket, dumbass shit. And 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 they thought that was a damn strategy. And they thought that was a strategy in politics. No, it's just something that sounds good to you. And what somebody convinced you to do is throw away your right to vote in this country, based off of fucking YouTube videos. That's why I thought it was stupid. That's why I would argue with these guys, because they sound stupid. They don't realize they stupid by coming on here talking about vote down ballot. Don't vote for the top of the ticket. Don't. That was the dumbest thing that anybody, because that's the dumbest strategy that anybody could use when it comes to politics, because you actually giving it away. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to play the video and the audio so you guys can hear it, and we'll listen to it together. Okay, so hold on. We're going to pause this, and I'm going to try to get it queued up. So this is the interview that Kamala Harris had tonight on Fox News. So here we go.
Madam Vice President, thank you for the time.
Thank you. It's good to be with you, Brett.
Voters tell pollsters all over the country and here in Pennsylvania that immigration is one of the key issues that they're looking at this election, and specifically the influx of illegal immigrants from more than 150 countries. How many illegal immigrants would you estimate your administration has released into the country over the last 3.5 years?
Well, I'm glad you raised the issue of immigration, because I agree with you. It is a topic of discussion that people want to rightly have. And you know what I'm going to talk about.
Yeah, but
right now,
just a number. Do you think it's 1 million, 3 million?
Brett, let's just get to the point. Okay, the point is that we have a broken immigration system that needs to be repaired.
So your Homeland Security Secretary said that 85% of apprehensions.
I'm not finished. We have an
it's a rough estimate of 6 million people have been released into the country. And let me just finish. I'll get to the question, I promise you.
I was beginning to answer.
And when you came into office, your administration immediately reversed a number of Trump border policies. Most significantly, the policy that required illegal immigrants to be detained through deportation, either in the U.S. or in Mexico. And you switched that policy. They were released from custody awaiting trial. So instead, included in those were a large number of single men, adult men, who went on to commit heinous crimes. So looking back, do you regret the decision to terminate Remain in Mexico at the beginning of your administration?
At the beginning of our administration, within practically hours of taking the oath, the first bill that we offered Congress, before we worked on infrastructure, before the Inflation Reduction Act, before the CHIPS and Science Act, before the bipartisan Safer Communities Act, the first bill, practically within hours of taking the oath, was a bill to fix our immigration system.
Yes, ma'am. It was called the U.S. Citizenship Act of 2021.
Exactly.
It was essentially a pathway to citizenship for the... Yes, ma'am.
May I finish responding, please?
But
you have to let me finish,
You
please.
had the White House and the Senate,
and they didn't bring up that bill. I'm in the middle of responding to the point you're raising,
okay,
and I'd like to finish.
Yes, ma'am.
We recognized from day one that, to the point of this being your first question, it is a priority for us as a nation and for the American people. And our focus has been on fixing a problem. And from day one, then, we have done a number of things, including to address our asylum system and put more resources, getting more judges, what we needed to do to tighten up penalties and increase penalties for illegal crossings, what we needed to do to deal with points of entry between border entry points. That's the work we did, and we worked on supporting what was a bipartisan effort, including some of the most conservative members of the United States Congress, to actually strengthen the border. That border bill would have put 1,500 more border agents at the border, which is why I believe the Border Patrol agents supported the bill. It would have allowed us to stem the flow of fentanyl coming into the United States, which is a scourge affecting people of every background, every geographic location in our country, killing people. It would have allowed us to put more resources into prosecuting transnational criminal organizations, which I have done as the Attorney General, former Attorney General of a border state.
Madam Vice President, a couple of things.
Prosecuted trafficking of drugs, guns, and human beings. And Donald Trump, but let me just finish.
Six Democrats voted against that bill.
Learned about that bill and told them to kill it because he preferred to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. And in this election, this is rightly a discussion that the American people want to have. And what they want are solutions, and they want a president of the United States who's not playing political games with the issue,
I hear you,
but actually is focused on fixing it.
6 Democrats voted against that bill. It would have allowed 1.8 million illegal immigrants into the country a year. A lot of conservatives had a problem with it. These are the 6 Democrats. But more importantly, back to the original premise, Jocelyn Nungari, Rachel Morin, Laken Riley, they are young women who were brutally assaulted and killed by some of the men who were released at the beginning of the administration, well before a negotiated bipartisan bill. Former President Clinton actually referred to Laken Riley Sunday, campaigning for you in Georgia, saying if those men had been properly vetted, Laken Riley probably would not have been killed. So if it wouldn't have happened, this is well before any negotiation. This is well before Donald Trump got involved in the politics. This is a specific policy decision by your administration to release these men into the country. So what I'm saying to you, do you owe those families an apology?
Let me just say, first of all, those are tragic cases. There's no question about that. There is no question about that. And I can't imagine the pain that the families of those victims have experienced for a loss that should not have occurred. So that is true. It is also true that if a border security had actually been passed 9 months ago, it would be 9 months that we would have had more border agents at the border, more support for the folks who are working around the clock trying to hold it all together.
Madam Vice President.
To ensure that no future harm would occur. And this election in 20 days will determine whether we have a president of the United States who actually cares more about fixing a problem, even if it is not to their political advantage in an election, because there was a solution, Brett.
Madam Vice President, it was a policy decision in the early part of your administration. I will let one of the mothers talk about it. Take a listen.
Because of the Biden-Harris administration open border policies catch and release, they were enrolled in the Alternatives to Detention program. This meant that they were released into the United States It was not even a full 3 weeks later that they would take my daughter, Jocelyn Nungare's life. I believe the Biden-Harris administration open border policies are responsible for the death of my daughter.
That's the early days. So do you owe them an apology is what I'm saying.
I will tell you that I am so sorry for her loss. I am so sorry for her loss, sincerely. But let's talk about what is happening right now with an individual who does not want to participate in solutions. Let's talk about that as well.
But do you want to answer
in
her?
all fairness, I told you, I feel awful for what she and her family have experienced.
During that time, you said repeatedly that the border was secure. When in your mind did it start becoming a crisis?
I think we've had a broken immigration system transcending, by the way, Donald Trump's administration, even before. Let's all be honest about that. I have no pride in saying that this is a perfect immigration system. I've been clear, I think we all are, that it needs to be fixed. We need more. I was just down at the border talking with border agents, and they will tell you, and I'm sure you probably, I know you investigate and you are a serious journalist, they will tell you, we need more judges. We need to process those cases faster. We need the support for those cases that should be prosecuted. They need more resources, and Congress ultimately is the only place that's going to get fixed, Brett.
Well,
that's how this system works.
That's the premise of this question. There were 90-plus executive orders that were rescinded in the first days. Many of those were Trump border policies. I'm not going to stay here because there's other things to talk about, but you frequently talked to the Border Patrol Union for support of that bipartisan bill, and they did. They supported it. But they also just endorsed Donald Trump and said, you've been, quote, a failure with border security. Why do you think they said that?
I think they're frustrated, and I get it. They want support. They want support, and that's what that border security bill would have done. These guys down at the border, these men and women, they're working hard. They're working around the clock. I get it.
There's a lot of people that look back at what you said in 2019 when you first ran for president. And there have been changes, and you've talked about some of them. When it comes to immigration, you supported allowing immigrants in the country illegally to apply for driver's license, to qualify for free tuition at universities, to be enrolled in free health care. Do you still support those things?
Listen, that was 5 years ago, and I'm very clear that I will follow the law. I have made that statement over and over again, and as Vice President of the United States, that's exactly what I've done, not to mention before.
If that's the case, you chose a running mate, Tim Walz, governor of Minnesota, who signed those very things into state law. So do you support that?
We are very clear, and I am very clear, as is Tim Walz, that we must support and enforce federal law, and that is exactly what we will do.
So decriminalizing border crossings, like you said in 2019.
I do not believe in decriminalizing border crossings, and I've not done that as vice president. I will not do that as president.
So these are evolutions that you've had.
But let's be very clear. I'm the only person who's running for president who has prosecuted transnational criminal organizations, from the Sinaloa cartel to the Guadalajara cartel, to people who have trafficked in guns, drugs, and human beings. I have spent a significant part of my career going after people who present a threat to the safety of the American people and cross our border with the intent of doing us harm and cross our border illegally. And I will do that work as vice president. I take that work quite seriously.
This is a time when voters, especially here in Pennsylvania, are inundated with commercials and ads. They just want it to stop because it's every commercial. But many of them add noise, but a few of them seem to break through. This particular one from the Trump campaign has gotten a lot of attention.
Kamala supports taxpayer-funded sex changes for prisoners.
Surgery.
For prisoners.
For prisoners. Every transgender inmate in the prison system would have access.
So are you still in support of using taxpayer dollars to help prison inmates or detained illegal aliens to transition to another gender?
I will follow the law, and it's a law that Donald Trump actually followed. You're probably familiar with, now it's a public report, that under Donald Trump's administration, these surgeries were available on a medical necessity basis to people in the federal prison system. And I think, frankly, that ad from the Trump campaign is a little bit of like throwing, you know, stones when you're living in a glass house.
The Trump aides say that he never advocated for that prison policy and no gender transition surgeries
you know what, you got to
happened
take
during
responsible for what
his
happened
presidency.
in your administration.
Yeah, no surgeries happened in his presidency.
It's in
So
black and white.
would you still advocate for using taxpayer dollars for gender reassessment surgeries?
I will follow the law, just as I think Donald Trump would say he did.
You would have a say as president.
Like I said, I think it's he spent $20 million on those ads, trying to create a sense of fear in the voters because he actually has no plan in this election that is about focusing on the needs of the American people. Whereas, at $20 million on that ad, on an issue that, as it relates to the biggest issues that affect the American people, it's really quite remote. And again, his policy was no different. Look at where we are, though.
They say
on plans for the American people,
move on.
I'm offering a plan to deal with affordable housing. I'm offering a plan to deal with what we need to do to strengthen small businesses, which are the backbone of America's economy. I am offering a plan that is about taking care of young parents and giving them the support they need. My plans for the economy will strengthen the economy, as have been reviewed by 16 Nobel laureates, Goldman Sachs, Moody's, and recently the Wall Street Journal, which have all studied our plans and have indicated my plans for our economy would strengthen our economy, his would make them weaker, would ignite inflation and invite a recession by the middle of next year. Those are the facts.
Why do you think more people say they trust him on the economy than they trust you?
I think that when you look at an analysis of our plans for what we would do as President of the United States, it has been clear to those who study and understand how economic policy works that moving forward, because I do believe the American people are ready to turn the page on the divisiveness and the type of rhetoric that has come out of Donald Trump. People are ready to chart a new way forward, and they want a president who has a plan for the future and a plan that is sound and will strengthen our country. My plan for the economy does exactly that. His plan would be, again, to give tax cuts to billionaires and the biggest corporations in our country and blow up our deficit.
It's interesting you said turn the page, Madam Vice President. You were asked on 2 different shows last week what, if anything, you would do differently than President Biden. Here's what you said.
Would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind in terms of, and I've been a part of most of the decisions that have had impact.
Under a Harris administration, what would the major changes be, and what would stay the same?
Sure. Well, I mean, I'm obviously not Joe Biden.
I know.
And so that would be one change in terms of, but also I think it's important to say with, 28 days to go, I'm not Donald Trump.
So you're not Joe Biden, you're not Donald Trump, but nothing comes to mind that you would do differently?
Let me be very clear. My presidency will not be a continuation of Joe Biden's presidency. And like every new president that comes in to office, I will bring my life experiences, my professional experiences, and fresh and new ideas. I represent a new generation of leadership. I, for example, am someone who has not spent the majority of my career in Washington, D.C. I invite ideas, whether it be from the Republicans who are supporting me, who were just on stage with me minutes ago, and the business sector, and others who can contribute to the decisions that I make about, for example, my plan for increasing the supply of housing in America and bringing down the cost of housing, addressing the issue of small businesses, which is about working with the private sector to bring more capital and access to capital to our small business leaders, including my plan for a $25,000 down payment assistance for first-time home buyers and for small businesses, extending the tax deduction from $5,000 to $50,000.
We've heard a lot about those plans in recent days. Your campaign slogan is a new way forward, and it's time to turn the page. You've been vice president for 3.5 years, so what are you turning the page from?
Well, first of all, turning the page from the last decade in which we have been burdened with the kind of rhetoric coming from Donald Trump that has been designed and implemented to divide our country and have Americans literally point fingers at each other. rhetoric and an approach to leadership that suggests that the strength of a leader is based on who you beat down instead of what we all know. The strength of leadership is based on who you lift up. The strength of an American president, which is one who understands that the vast majority of us have more in common than what separates us.
Madam Vice President, more than 70% of people
that is
tell
about
pollsters,
turning the page on rhetoric that people are frankly exhausted of, Brett.
More than 70% of people tell the country is on the wrong track. They say the country is on the wrong track. If it's on the wrong track, that track follows 3.5 years of you being vice president and President Biden being president. That is what they're saying, 79% of them. Why are they saying that? If you're turning the page, you've been in office for 3.5 years.
And Donald Trump has been running for office.
But you've been the person holding the office.
Come on.
Madam
You
Vice
and I
President.
both know what I'm talking about. You and I both know what I'm talking about.
I actually don't. What are you talking about?
What I'm talking about is that over the last decade,
people
have become. But listen, over the last decade, it is clear to me, and certainly the Republicans who are on stage with me, the former chief of staff to the president, Donald Trump, former defense secretaries, national security advisor, and his vice president. One, that he is unfit to serve, that he is unstable, that he is dangerous, and that people are exhausted with someone who professes to be a leader who spends full time demeaning and engaging in personal grievances and it being about him instead of the American people. People are tired of that.
If that's the case, why is half the country supporting him? Why is he beating you in a lot of swing states? Why, if he's as bad as you say, that half of this country is now supporting this person who could be the 47th president of the United States? Why is that happening?
This is an election for president of the United States. It's not supposed to be easy.
I know, but
it's not supposed to be. It is not supposed to be a cakewalk for anyone.
So are they misguided, the 50%?
Listen,
are they stupid? What is it?
I would never say that about the American people. And in fact, if you listen to Donald Trump, if you watch any of his rallies, he's the one who tends to demean and belittle and diminish the American people. He's the one who talks about an enemy within, an enemy within, talking about the American people, suggesting he would turn the American military on the American people.
We asked that question to the former president today. Harris Faulkner had a town hall, and this is how he responded.
I heard about that. They were saying I was like threatening. I'm not threatening anybody. They're the ones doing the threatening. They do phony investigations. I've been investigated more than Alphonse Capone. He was the greatest gangster. No, it's true. No, but think of it. It's called weaponization of government. It's a terrible thing.
So,
Brett, I'm sorry, and with all due respect, that clip was not what he has been saying about the enemy within that he has repeated when he's speaking about the American people. That's not what you just showed.
Well, he was asked about that specific...
No, that's not what you just showed. In all fairness and respect to you...
That was the question that we asked him.
You didn't show that, and here's the bottom line. He has repeated it many times, and you and I both know that. And you and I both know that he has talked about turning the American military on the American people. He has talked about going after people who are engaged in peaceful protest. He has talked about locking people up because they disagree with him. This is a democracy. And in a democracy, the President of the United States, in the United States of America, should be willing to be able to handle criticism without saying he'd lock people up for doing it. And this is what is at stake, which is why you have someone like the former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff saying what Mark Milley has said about Donald Trump being a threat to the United States of America.
He's quoted in the Bob Woodward book that way, yes. Let me ask you this, Madam Vice President. You call Donald Trump...
The significance of that.
You call Donald Trump... he's misguided. You say now
he's unstable. He is unstable, Brett.
He's not well. You say he's mentally not stable.
He's not stable.
Let me ask you this. You told many interviewers that Joe Biden was on his game, that ran around circles on his staff. When did you first notice that President Biden's mental faculties appeared diminished?
Joe Biden, I have watched from the Oval Office to the Situation Room. And he has the judgment and the experience to do exactly what he has done in making very important decisions on behalf of the American people.
There were no concerns raised?
Brett, Joe Biden is not on the ballot.
I understand.
And Donald Trump
but
is.
You talked about it.
And Donald Trump
After George Clooney said within a few minutes of talking to President Biden at a fundraiser that he thought this was not the same Joe Biden that we saw on the debate stage.
Donald Trump is on the ballot.
I understand. You met with him at least once a week for 3.5 years. You didn't have any concerns?
I think the American people have a concern about Donald Trump, which is why the people who know him best, including leaders of our national security community, have all spoken out. Even people who worked for him in the Oval Office, worked with him in the Situation Room, and have said he is unfit and dangerous and should never be president of the United States again, including his former vice president, which is why the job was open for him to choose another running mate. So that is a fact. That is a fact.
Madam Vice President, two more things. You were asked on 60 Minutes about the biggest threat that the world faces, that the U.S. faces. This is what you said.
Which foreign country do you consider to be our greatest adversary?
I think there's an obvious one in mind, which is Iran. Iran has American blood on their hands, okay? This attack on Israel, 200 ballistic missiles. What we need to do to ensure that Iran never achieves the ability to be a nuclear power, that is one of my highest priorities.
A number of experts thought you would say China. The FBI director had said that. But you said Iran. If that's the case, what do you say to critics who look at the actions of your administration and say you're not acting like Iran is the #1 threat?
Well, I will tell you most recently, whether it was in April or in October, and then several hours on each occasion, that Iran posed a threat to Israel. I was there, most recently in the Situation Room, in the most recent attack, working with the heads of our military and doing what America must always do to defend and to support Israel in its requirement to defend itself, and to give American support to be able to allow Israel to have the resources to defend itself against attack, including from Iran and Iran's terrorist proxies in the region.
Right.
And that
but those proxies were getting funded by
my commitment to that is unyielding and unwavering.
Critics just say that you either relaxed or failed to enforce sanctions on Iran, allowing all of this money to flow into Iran, like billions.
Let's go back to Donald Trump, who pulled out of a deal that would have actually put Iran in check.
The estimates in billions.
It was during Donald Trump's
that
administration
go towards
that
the Iran regime.
That we had an American military base that was attacked, where American soldiers suffered traumatic brain injuries, and Donald Trump dismissed them as headaches, not to mention how Donald Trump has treated and talked about America's military and military service people, calling them suckers and losers,
Hamas,
has diminished the significance.
We're talking over each other. I apologize.
Well, I would like that we would have a conversation that is grounded in full assessment of the facts, which includes, I think this interview is supposed to be about the choices that your viewers should be presented about this election, and the contrast is important.
Yes, ma'am.
And on the subject of Iran, I am offering what should be an important contrast that is presented for folks to make a decision
and there are critics
that they feel.
Who look at what the administration did and say and think differently. Madam Vice President, they're wrapping me very hard here. I hope you got to say what you wanted to say about Donald Trump. There are a lot of things
There's more to say. I have much more to say,
there are a lot of things that people want to learn about you and your policies, and that's why we invited you here.
I invite everyone to go to KamalaHarris.com, and you will see that I have 80 pages of policies that are quite comprehensive and should be accessible to anyone who would like to read them. And it includes what I intend to do about affordable housing, what I intend to do about small businesses, what I do
And that's why
intend
we
to do to
invited you
strengthen
here,
our economy,
to see where you were in 2019 and where you are now.
support America's military and ensure we have the most lethal and best fighting force in the world.
Madam Vice President,
And
they're giving me a hard rap
well,
here.
I thank you for the time.
I thank you for the time.
It's good to meet you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews.
All right. Well, I thought that interview was interesting, and the reason that it caught my attention is because Kamala Harris ain't no joke. She's ready for that office, and for her to go on Fox News and to the Lion's Den and actually take an interview like that, I mean, we've never seen Donald Trump be questioned like that. And when Donald Trump is questioned, he'll say something stupid, like he would just say the dumbest shit, and it would always wind up with him not answering the question, like this dumb shit.
They're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. And this is what's happening in our country, and it's a shame. The people on television say my dog was taken and used for food. So
taking this from
but
television,
the people on
taking it from
television
the city
saying their
manager.
dog was eaten by the people that went there.
See, now, I mean, that was a presidential debate, and Donald Trump gave that type of response. Yes, there was a lot of back and forth between Bret Baier and Kamala Harris, but the questions was about real world issues. It was substantive issues about policy, about her decision making, about things that she would do as a president or how she would lead. You know, so that's the conversation that American people need to hear. Even though she was on Fox News and that guy was trying to get her, she didn't take it. She would push back. She kept trying to make sure that the American people knew that Donald Trump is unstable. He's not ready. He's the oldest person to ever run for president. And you've got people out here that wants to somehow or another capitulate or toss up in the air that somehow or another Kamala Harris is not qualified. Now, she does have a heavy lift, an uphill climb, if you will, because she's a woman. And this country has never seen a woman president. So that's the battle that she's going to have to fight. But as far as qualifications are concerned, as far as answering these political questions, as following saying that she's going to get in the White House and do certain things, yeah, she checks every fucking box. But the only thing that we hear is a woman trying to be president. And I think, like I said before earlier, that's the reason that she was on Charlemagne the God. That's the reason that Barack Obama just came out saying that there's a problem with black men. That's the reason that the numbers that are what they are towards the campaign for Kamala Harris and black men. Now, I think that some of the reasons that the black men give is just downright stupid. I just do think that it's just dumb the way that some black men oppose Kamala Harris. But like I said, I realize, because I'm a black man and I know that I go through certain mindsets, that it's hard for us as black men to say that a woman or see a woman should be in charge. You know, that we just, you know, we already speaking against the way the matriarchy worked in the black community, about the women being the leader of the household, raising their family single, alone, and all this kind of bullshit, you know what I mean? And we're saying that because of Uncle Sam coming into the house, that they took the charge and all that dumb shit right there. You know, that plays into the mindset of them looking at Kamala Harris as a leader and rejecting that. Like I said, the religious aspect of it, the Bible tells us that women has a certain place, and we're a very religious community. There's a lot of stuff that plays into the fact that she's a woman, why those numbers might be looking the way they are for black men. Now, a lot of people just go straight to either you're going to support Trump or you're going to support Harris. I don't think that black men think like that. I don't think it's just a black and white like that. You know, there's other issues why black men might not be supporting Harris. And like I said, the gender thing might be one of them. And there might be other issues. But my point is that the Democrats need to find whatever it is and speak to that issue. Who's this unknown caller?
Mace.
What's up, Mace?
Oh, I was listening. Oh, you finished?
Yeah. Go ahead. I was just running my mouth. I wasn't supposed to be on here tonight. No way. But go ahead.
What's so funny about the whole thing now? She goes over to Fox. They put a little. Everything got to be based around what she gonna do with Israel. Anytime she got to answer a question, that's the first one, and then the next one is the border. So I want somebody to answer the question for me, like those like ADD and Sarge. If Trump wouldn't have tried to be president and stop them from making
Wait, hold on for a minute, Maze. Hey, who's this unknown caller?
Miss Lady.
Okay, Miss Lady, put your phone on mute. We hear you. We hear you in the background back there.
I'm not doing anything.
But we can hear it. I know you're not doing that.
I just picked up a Kleenex.
Okay. But go ahead, Maze.
Oh, nobody can never explain. If Trump wouldn't have interfered with them passing that bill, what would the border be like?
Right.
That never comes into the equation. And also, somebody that was in his administration stole some border money. That is never discussed. So what happened on Fox, we saw it, and we saw how them try to change words around that. He said, all you got to do is pull it up and play what he said he was going to do to his enemies. He said that the other day, and Brett was trying to pull out a little, whatever that was, he tried to pull out to fool the people. And I don't think that Trump nowhere close to Kamala. I think Kamala is so far out whipping him that they don't want to tell him to keep these Looney Tunes calm. That's what I think. Okay, Miss Lady, you can have the floor.
All right, Miss Lady, what's happening?
I was just thinking, when you say some black men won't vote for her for other reasons, like Howard had brought up, I think, where a lot of them, back in elementary school and middle school, they were never called on. And, but see, you have the smart ones in the class.
Yeah.
And you have some black girls or biracial girls in the class. And they were ready and prepared, and they did their homework, and they got help with their homework at home, and they were smart. So they were raising up their hand and being called on. And I think it could be something as simple as that there's resentment that goes way back.
Right.
And jealousy, as well as that smart little girl, nice-looking little girl, wasn't checking for them in middle school or high school. So I think that might be a part of it as well, because it makes no common sense for them. Because, see, then you can say, oh, it's religion. Those black dudes aren't going to church. They aren't reading their Bible and behaving like Christians for the most part. So it's not that. That's just an excuse. It's something more than that.
Well, there's something there, and you probably touching on it too. That they're just, like you said, they might be jealous, they might be envious.
They're jealous and resentful. She represents, back in the day, those smart little girls that the teacher liked because she came prepared and she liked learning and she made A's, and she would raise her hand because she had the answers. And she made A's on her tests, and she knew how to write well, and that is just resentment, I think.
Yeah, I just didn't want to think that because that was the case that they was all Trump supporters. I don't think they're all Trump supporters, but there is something there that needs to be talked about.
And I think it's not just black men. I think there's other men as well.
Yeah. Like this country, I don't think this country was ready for a woman, but go ahead.
I don't know why not. That's they're just using that as an excuse.
Well, because we never had one.
Yeah, but other countries have had women presidents for decades ago. We've had women senators, women in positions of leadership in corporations and government. That's just an excuse, Tyrone.
Well, it's an excuse, but it's a reality that we live in a patriarchy, and it's always been the white male in charge here, and that's what people are used to.
Oh Well, it's racism too. They don't want to. Some people don't want to see a black, or she's half Jamaican, half Indian. They don't want to see her being the president because it's racial stuff too. So it's so there's racial discrimination really, as well as I think jealousy and resentment. And some of those racists are also jealous and resentful. I mean that they kind of bleed into each other a lot of times.
Yeah. So I hope we get past this though. But what was bothering me is because they had Barack Obama. They were showing YouTube clips of him talking to black men, and she went on Charlemagne the God, and they were saying that black men got a problem. And I'm like, it ain't that they Trump supporters. It can't be. It's got to be something else.
Well, I know a couple that are Trump supporters, and they're educated men. And I think one of them, he's so upset about the immigrants. Because where he lives, there's a lot of them, illegal immigrants. And, the taxpayers are supporting a lot of the immigrants from, getting health care, their children, coming out, and, they being born here, 20 minutes before they cross the border, and now they can, and even if they haven't, they're in the school district, and, property taxes are supporting the schools. So there's a lot of benefits they can get, from, food and formula and all that stuff. So people are resentful when they are having such a hard time themselves. And they've been citizens here paying taxes and, and the ancestors built the country. So, they're upset, and it's rightfully so. And I think that's what the Democrats unfortunately got away from looking out for the average Joe Blow in the country. They moved kind of toward the right, toward the middle, a little bit across the middle toward the right, and they forgot about the average working person. And now that private equity is buying everything up and increasing prices, and it's a very, it seems like it's going very much pro-corporate, pro-wealth.
Right.
There's such an equal, distribution of resources of wealth. People are angry, and they have every right to be. They see that their salaries aren't going up, but everything else is. My brother went into Home Depot last week to buy a certain kind of tape, and he said 2 years ago that roll of tape was $8, and now he was upset. He said it was $24.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, that's crazy.
And, so salaries haven't gone up twice as much, 3 times as much.
No, your salary don't go up, but the corporations keep gouging people with this price increase on their products, and people are suffering out here when it comes to. I mean, I know they saying that the economy is doing good, but I don't know who they're talking about.
Good for the wealthy and the private equity and the corporations. That's who it's doing well for.
Yeah.
It's not for working people. No, it's not. And so that's what the Democrats, they failed to address that, and it should have been addressed. It's been on a slide downward since the 80s for the working person. The union decimation and all of that, making it harder to even file class action lawsuits. The standards have made it much more difficult. I mean, just everything. So both parties are at fault.
Oh yeah. Both parties are in the pockets of the corporations. They got these lobbyists in their pockets, and then it's just crazy how they don't think about the average person anymore, and we have to suffer by paying all these highest costs of goods and services and stuff like that. And while they're asking for campaign money, like I said, I don't want to speak bad about Kamala Harris, but she's not speaking to the problem that we're having when it comes at the high cost of shit.
I know, because okay, so you're going to get $50K for a small business. Well, most people are not going to open up a small business. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So what about the person who's working 2 jobs to try and keep afloat and have children to take care of. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and she keep talking about this $25,000 for down payment for a house, and you know I hate to bust people bubble, but everybody ain't gonna be qualified to go buy no damn house. You know,
No, and
especially
depending on where you live, the house is going to be too much even with that. You're
yeah.
still not going to pay the house mortgage.
But
And you're
she
not,
is
like you said, going to be qualified because they done messed up their credit using their credit cards trying to pay for all this high-priced product over
yeah,
the
and I
past.
ain't trying to shoot a hole in her campaign, but as soon as I heard that, I was like, okay, well, they just throwing out shit now, you know.
I mean, you have an average house costing $700,000, $800,000. What's $50,000? It's not gonna. No, only a certain category of people are going to be able to buy it.
Exactly. So, like I said, I can shoot holes in her stuff all day, but I don't want to do it. But you know, it's honesty, and it's politics, and you know, she's trying to get the votes, and it sounds good, but the reality is, there's a lot of people that is not going to fall up under any of her policies when it comes to, you know, offering all this money to small businesses and $25,000 for the house. Now, a lot of people just not even going to qualify for it.
No, they're not. They're already stretched so thin. They're not going to.
Yep.
Yeah, I sent it to this clip on YouTube. It was our private equity is just, oh my God. They've gone around and bought up a lot of the real property real estate, right? They want a nation of renters, right? And so they keep raising the rents and that kind of thing, and people are, so they've done that. So they are now have going into, what do you call those RV parks, where people have a big RV and they lease the land. Now they're going buying up that, which is like the last affordable place to live. They're going buying up those home parks from the owners and jacking up everything, jacking up the cost of the rental.
Well, see, there are very few people. I ain't gonna say few. There's somebody that can't afford it, and that's the reason that they're jacking up the price, because you know people have been lucky enough to be able to afford it, and because they wouldn't. But the people that can't afford it are really, you know, they really out there and they're suffering because everybody can't afford that high ass shit.
Hello?
And so one lady was talking. She was an older retired woman, and she was in tears. She was being interviewed, and she's like, I don't know where I'm going to go. She has, I think, about a month left because they increased the rent, the lease of that space. And I think from the offer would say formally they might have paid for, say, you know, the water or the Wi-Fi, whatever, internet. Now they're passing that down to the renters. So it's bad.
Hello?
Yeah, it's bad.
Hello?
Yeah, you're on, Mace.
Oh, I wanted to say something about when she was telling people about first time buyer. I mean, how much money they can get to purchase a home. Now they had a student loan forgiveness. If you're a student and you paying like $800, like say you went to be a doctor, a pharmacist, or something like that, you can't afford to do it because you got to pay your student loan back. So all those people that got their student loan when they forgave their student loans, they have money in their pocket now. And along with those people that were paying all that money for the insulin, and they have money in their pockets now. So,
but there's some court in Middle America, I think, where they just ruled against it. They keep going back and forth.
Oh, they just opened it back up, Miss Lady, last week. But the court went with Joe Biden, so they give it more student loans. So for those people that student loan forgiveness, if they couldn't purchase a house, they can now. So, but then
Well,
they can't
see,
come up with
Maze,
down
now, like, do you really believe that, you know, if they got rid of their student loan, they can afford a house now?
Yes, you have some people pay $800, $1,000, or $2,000 or $3,000 a month.
Not in California.
Okay. I'm gonna give you an
not.
example. When I bought my house in 2009, it was $95,000, right? That's what I paid for my house. It's worth now $300,000. So what I'm saying is that even though they got rid of the student loan, they're not buying $95,000 houses no more. They
Now, but Tyrone, Kamala gives you $50K for a first-time home buyer. Said the house is $300, now it's $250, and you have two working people, and you have the right interest rate. You might be able to afford it, but not most people still won't be able to.
Go ahead, Mason.
What I was saying is that a lot of people have money in their pockets to purchase stuff that they couldn't do in the beginning. So if you're one of those people, or you know some of those people, like you said, you're paying $1,000 for rent. So if you were paying $1,000 for rent, you're paying your student loan, so it's not there anymore. It was wiped out.
I see what you're saying. You got extra money because you're not paying the student loan.
They can purchase a house instead of renting a house.
It's still gonna be tight though, you know.
Yeah, and you better not lose your job. You better not get sick. It's like you're gonna be walking on eggshells. You're gonna be sick from all the stress.
And a lot of those people were stuck with their children's student loans. That was wiped out for some of them. So that means they have more money in their pocket and they can do more with their money.
A friend of mine, she was very happy that got wiped out because she took out one for her son who went to university, and she was happy. But no, Maze, this is going back and forth. The most recent one is that no, it can't be forgiven. I mean, they keep going back and forth, and these Republicans keep running to the court.
Yes.
And they go.
Well, Friday Friday they were saying that it was back on because the judge went along with Biden. But then again, if you look at corporations, now corporations
it's a stall. It's a stall. It's not that it's complete. It's like it's still going to be. It's going to end up in the Supreme Court. You know what they're going to do.
Yes, but I'm saying, and then it's like what was I saying? Like when it comes to the corporations. Now corporations are people. It's just like the storm happened down in Florida, happened down in Carolina. What did they do? They price gouged. Who could stop them? They jacked everything up. Hotels was stacked up. You trying to run from the hotel. What did they do? Jack the price up. So that's not whose fault is that? The corporations are the ones that's doing this. That's what I look at it as saying. So since they became people, they can do what they want to do. But once it's that Congress that the Supreme Court did it, but once that Congress do to change it, it'll go back to where it should be. A corporation got the opportunity to do whatever they want to. They can jack their prices up to where they want it. The renters can jack their prices up to where they want it, and whoever want to. Utility, water,
but you know
whoever.
what? It should be illegal to jack up prices when it's like a national emergency type of situation, something like that. Mm-hmm. And I think there might be some laws on the books in some
I think
states.
price gouging is illegal. I don't know how they keep getting away with it.
Well, they getting away with it because they're corporations.
You had those little small stores jacking up the hand sanitizer and all that stuff. Some of them got in trouble. They got investigated and they had to pay huge fines.
But I wonder why they never talk about the PPP loans and all of that stuff back in the day.
Oh, because you know what? Those turned into gifts. They didn't have to pay those back. If those corporations kept 70% of their workforce working during COVID, they didn't have to pay it back.
Mm-hmm. And some of them went to jail because they, whatever they did, they broke the law. So some of them went to jail.
Yeah, but these big corporations, they didn't. You know, you take, no. Didn't even need the money, but they got it as a loan, and they kept 70% of the people working, and they got millions of dollars. And trust me, they didn't have any stipulations on how that money was supposed to be spent. So they said a lot of them, they were like having a great time on that money. I mean, just partying it up, buying stock back, vacations.
And their economy, and it was their economy that they said that they was doing well.
And it was our tax dollars that went to that, to the wealthy. A lot of them was a lot of fraud. People were, defrauding. They didn't even have companies. I met a lady. She said she was using her grandmother's address, And he was just lying and getting all kind of money. I said, what was she doing? Oh, buying cars and having a good time. And Palm said, she's going to get caught. So a lot of them got caught. But, but these big corporations got a lot of money because I read online that the Warriors, they didn't even ask for it. And they got a big old check. They sent it back. They said, we don't need that.
Yep, they was just passing it out like it was, and maybe that's why they want Trump back, because they thought he was doing stuff for them, but this is what happened.
No, he wasn't.
And nobody was looking at it except the ones that went to prison for getting it illegal or whatever they did, because some people did go to jail for it. And then the farmers, you remember when Trump told them that to help him out because the farmers were getting upset? He told China. People forget about stuff like that, but that's not my concern. The corporations don't either. If they wanted to overthrow the government, they have no part for me to have anything to do with them.
You said if they want to overthrow the government, who you talking about? The corporation?
No. Well, they was a part of it too, because half of them politicians are corporations too. That's why you can't get anything done, because of them they're voting for their own interests. Not for the people's interest. That's putting their tax dollars down, but they voting for their interest. And so, like I said, that's what I see. And I would not vote for anybody that wanted to overthrow the government.
Oh, God.
And anybody had something to do with Putin, and we supposed to hate it, the Russians, because they used to say when the Russians are coming, the Russians are coming. Now some people running to them. Shouldn't have anything to do with them.
Well, that's how propaganda works, because they got damn near all the Republican Party thinking that Russia is okay now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So if Russia's okay, I guess he'll be vice president over here.
And then
So
last week they said during COVID that Donald Trump, instead of giving the COVID test to the American people, he was sending them to Vladimir Putin.
Yes, you remember down in Florida where the man was the governor? He was he was holding them back. And
yeah,
then
Ron DeSantis, he was selling them to the highest bidder. I remember that.
And some of them expired. Remember when those what you call those machines they used to put them people on? There was a shortage. So I don't know how people keep saying how things were so great, and then people having to work on the bad conditions, not even full time, part time, had to have 2 jobs. So this is
been a downward slide. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
A decade.
Who's this unknown caller?
What's going on, man? I'm glad that you on. I thought it was the propagandist Saturday. I was like, oh no.
No, I actually made a mistake and came on tonight, and my daughter called me because she always bugged me on FaceTime. She said today ain't Thursday. I was like, get out of here.
What you had, Tyrone? You had something on
Oh, you were 2 days early. Hey, but hey, we appreciate you coming on and doing your thing, man. I'm listening a little. I'll talk a little later. Let the lady speak.
But check out this clip on YouTube. It's called Private Equity's Ruthless Takeover of the Last Affordable Housing in America. Mm-hmm. Talking about them buying up all those mobile home parks.
Yep. They're buying up the mobile home parks and building things on it, and it's not American.
So who's the company just buying? Are they foreign companies?
Yeah. No, these are privately owned companies. They're called private equity companies. They're buying up they have been buying up the real estate across the country. Mm-hmm. They're in every sector of business, and basically they're there to make profit. And so that's why, like I remember a year ago, on YouTube I found they were talking about a brand new housing community that was being built like in some place in Texas. And it was like your standard 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom homes. You're like a starter home for families. And they really wanted families to come in there and live. However, a private equity company went in there, sent people in there, and they were buying up large numbers of those houses. So they put in a restriction. I think the city had put in a restriction saying, corporation cannot buy or own more than, say, maybe 6 houses in this community. So what they did was they had subsidiary companies and they sent them in there to buy up houses. So they weren't going to sell those houses. They wanted to rent them. And so that's been going on now for years. So they're in all of the sectors. They'll be like own a lot of shares in, say, even publicly held companies, but they have a lot of voting rights because they own a lot of shares and they can kind of control what goes on. So the biggest expense for for companies are usually employment costs, but pay and the benefits given to the employees. So basically, they go in and they shave off what they can shave off so they can have more profit. But yeah, so they're going now, so they've bought up a lot of the real estate in the country, like the houses, the condos, and that kind of thing. Now they're buying up the mobile home park.
Yeah, I see that. I'm looking at your video. They're buying up the mobile home parks. Is there any stopping this stuff?
They should. The Democrats, they're not doing anything about it. That's what I'm saying. And they know this, and they're all in everything from health care. They're buying up hospitals, taking out the resources from the hospitals, and some of them are closing down, like across in certain states and areas, and that might be only the hospital in the whole area.
Yep. And then when you get to the hospital, the doctor's in there. You see the doctor, they're going to charge you for being in the room that the doctor that you was in. I'm like, which kind of sense does this make?
They're buying up. They're in everything, every sector.
Every city.
Everything.
And the governors are behind it because the city and the state.
Yeah, that's what I was at Mr. Solutions, asking him to talk about private equity. I asked him before the conversation got derailed, and that would be an interesting conversation to have some information about what private equity is and what it's doing to the country. That's a big part of a lot of this, what's going on too, in terms of it becoming more and more expensive.
So once they get it, what do? Do they resell it, or they probably mark it up? They probably mark it up and sell it at higher.
They're going to mark up the house or the rent.
Yeah.
So we buy up the house, we're going to mark up, and we're going to rent them, and we're going to, keep increasing the rent. Now, some areas they have rent control, so they're probably not buying up a whole lot of areas where there's rent control, but there's a lot of areas that don't, and it's easy to evict people. So, they're just, I think in Atlanta, private equity bought up 30, 40% in some areas in Atlanta. And so they're in everything.
See, now this is the type of stuff they need to be talking about on both sides, because people can't afford houses no more.
Because the regulations
they can't afford to live, Tyrone. They can't afford. They can't afford their utilities. Afford a car note. But cars are so expensive now.
But Miss Lady, when you pay your utility, you're not paying your utility in the city you live in. You're paying it to some other state. I'm like, why do I live in this state, but I'm paying my utility bill or my gas bill over here? All of that stuff has changed, and people are not looking at it. And it didn't just change. It didn't just change 20 years ago either. People just weren't noticing.
And this AI, I'm so tired of calling, and you have to press this, press that. So that's just with the employees. They don't want anybody answering the phone. They don't want to pay for that.
And they also got robots now. It's just like those self-checkout machines. They stay tore up more than they work.
I know. I went to a grocery store the other day. There was one checker, and everything else was self-check. I just waited. I'm like, I got to bring my own bag. I get my own food. Now I got to pack my own food and pay for. No. See, that's what I'm talking about. They're getting rid of all of this IT stuff is really to get rid of employees.
It's not going to work because I'm saying, like, the self-check, one store that I go in, it's been down for 3 weeks. So you have to go back to the regular register, which they only had 3. And then they got the self-check. I was like, this makes no sense. This is what you get for doing it. So now they're thinking about getting rid of them because they tore up more than they were.
Getting rid of the what? The self-checkout?
Yes, some places. Making less and going back to the register.
I don't think they ever going to get rid of that because that saves them a lot of money. That's a cashier they don't have to pay.
It costs a lot of money to get. It costs a lot of money to fix them too.
You don't have to pay workers' comp claims. You don't have to pay for vacation, sick leave, 401k. You don't have to pay, all of that. You don't have to deal with all that. You don't have as many staff to deal with.
Yeah, and so also they having robots. Like waiters. They have robots doing it.
That's what they say, robots. Mm-hmm. And then they say Muskin had his robots out there and his robo taxis that are supposed to kick Uber and Lyft to the curb.
No, there's a restaurant. Miss Lady, there's a restaurant. I already have one in there. And then he's saying that you won't pay.
I wouldn't go to it. And that's all you got to do is
don't participate.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't go to a restaurant with a robot.
Well, somebody sent me a picture. That's why I know. Where they were out eating, and they sent me a picture with the robot doing the thing. And I'm saying, like, so he wants.
So you said the restaurant got robots too now?
Yeah, got a robot doing the work. Yes.
Yeah, that's impersonal. I don't think I would enjoy that.
No, I mean, we're delivering your food to you.
That. Mm-hmm. I think some McDonald's is like that. You go in there and punch in what you want, card in, and it comes to you. On the assembly line thing. I don't know. But you check out, they said Elon Musk robo-taxis, they're not going to have anybody driving, and it's going to take over Uber. And I guess if it's cheaper to get one of them robo-taxis, people will do that. But this is becoming really alarming. It's like they don't want people to have contact with other people.
Yeah, they're going to have the flying cars.
Oh, yeah, they got some of those, too.
So, I'm saying, but the robot breaks down, and it's going to take some human to have to fix it.
I mean, Elon Musk is a walking contradiction. I don't want to deal with nothing that he's involved in. Even though I agree with the technology, but he just, I don't want to fuck with anything that he's involved in.
Just like the spaceships, whatever they be trying to go out.
Really taking a nosedive because of all the machinations,
Yeah, it'll work for a while, and then it'll just collapse.
But no, the future is coming now. All of this technology and stuff is here to stay.
They wanted to be like the Jetsons. That was the plan when you was watching the Jetsons, I guess, when you grew up.
Like the Jetsons.
Looking at it. That's what it is.
Well, no, I mean, it's getting closer and closer to that stuff.
Yeah. But I'm saying,
it's a very impersonal society, which is not going to be good for people's emotional, state. You're not going to be able to speak to anybody or encourage anybody or share information and meet new people. It's just all this robotized stuff. It's very creepy.
It's already there. Your cell phone. It's part of people not talking to each other. They texting and they don't have a conversation. They just text 24/7, and they live on it. You have to break away from it and leave it there for like some hours, and then you can go back and get on.
Yeah, I have to tell my family. I have to tell my family. My family will text me, and they be expecting stuff. I'm like, no. Don't expect me to respond to no text. So you better call me or talk to me because I don't sit there on that phone like that all day. A lot of people do, but I just don't.
Just because your phone, you think your phone's supposed to be in your hand all day, every day. No, my phone is not in my hand. So if you text me, I don't get it. Maybe the next day I might get it. But if you didn't call me, I don't know you trying to get in contact with me.
Yeah, they get mad because you missed the text. I don't read that thing like that all the time.
Me neither.
Did you hear your beep go off? I didn't care nothing about a beep. A call and talk.
My phone don't even beep. I have it with. I don't want to know.
So they don't.
Yeah, but it's bad.
They don't be prepared. Because those people, they were losing their mind when the phones went down. What was it, about last month? When they couldn't use their phones, they didn't know what to do.
Oh yeah. Don't let cable go out. They lose their mind right here when cable go out. Now, Jesus.
Can you live without the stuff?
They start walking in circles. They just
and download some movies. Okay.
I can't even do a map anymore. If GPS go out, they can't get nowhere. They wouldn't even know where to get started.
Yeah, that is a point because
like,
now everybody got GPS.
Yes.
People don't know how to write instructions.
Yes.
I remember navigating.
Remember when you used to write the directions, like, all right, you got to make a right on this street, go on the left, this, that. When I was in the early times, the first time me going to Europe, there was no GPS. I had to figure out the streets and, basically like make a right on this crazy ass, whatever the spelling is. And then make a left there, and then you're gonna see a building that's this color, or you see a landmark. Those type of things. I don't think people really utilize that no more because they, like you said, they just GPS. But mess around and GPS go out, or they blow out that satellite of GPS and up out in the sky in space. We in trouble.
Yeah, I used to stop at gas stations all the time.
I mean, we'll be good. We'll be good because we'll go back to the vintage. Pull out the map. Or,
yeah, that's what I was saying. I used to go get road maps all the time.
There you go. You know what I'm saying?
They change things, but if you get it off Google telling you where to go, make a copy of it and have it so you can still get there if Google go out.
Ask some of these kids what a compass is.
Right.
Like, what? What's a compass?
No, ask them what's a landline or either how to cursive. They don't even know how to do that.
Go.
I'm like,
you know what that Morse code thing? You know how the truckers would be communicating with that?
Back in the day.
What was it? Morse code? It was something else, wasn't it?
It was Morse code. I think the Navy still use Morse code.
Maybe we should all learn Morse code, okay?
Well, technology is here to stay. Technology ain't going nowhere. So
man, it could be wiped out in a minute. Let a meteor hit this damn earth and explode everything, and we got to start from scratch. We in trouble. Imagine every electronic technology gets fried up, and then all the people that created technology or know that are on that level, they perish. And what happens? You got to start from scratch.
You start all over again.
You know how to go sit outside, start to put your grill up.
That's where you got to go outside of yourself. Remember?
No, when you got to think, but if you can't think, you just out there.
All the knowledge you ever need inside of yourself. They used to say that all the time.
Don't tell that to the Trump supporters. They'll go crazy. What are you talking about?
He left them stranded in Coachella.
Yeah, oh Lord. Don't even mention it.
In Palm Desert, okay? Near Palm Springs. And they had come out there. It was like last weekend, I think, and they had buses to bus them to the spot.
Oh yeah. They left all these people out there.
That's not the first time.
And they was waiting for hours. No buses came.
That's not the first time.
Man, I just seen that Univision. It was interpreted. They was interpreting in Univision the Latino community, half of my community, and he didn't answer any of the questions that these people asked. And I'm gonna tell you, I'm sorry to say, to those Latinos that was in there, half of those people are dumb. Sorry about that, but it's the damn truth. They asking questions and then he don't answer them and they don't follow up with it, or they don't say, but you didn't answer my question. Every question this man asked that they interpreted, he did not answer. He went outside and went and talked about everything else, and then at the end, he never answered the question. And guess what? Once he finished saying what he had to say, they moved on to the next person.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
well,
mean, he was just talking junk because they was asking him. I seen part of it. They was asking him what he was going to do with the migrants. There was a one farmer up there saying, I work from sun up to sundown, cutting cucumbers and all this kind of stuff. You're talking about kicking me out of the country, and Donald Trump just said, "Yeah, you got to go."
Pretty much in a roundabout way.
Oh, like,
he said you
Jesus
could stay
Christ.
here if you a citizen, but your mama and your daddy gotta go.
Yeah.
One of
The only
those.
person gonna be going somewhere is gonna be him, and that's why he's losing his mind.
And I ain't
He might be
understand why
saying
those
them bars.
Did you
Them
hear him playing?
bars.
Did you hear him playing James Brown when he was?
Oh no, they gotta listen. Who owns James Brown and State? Let's make a phone call right now.
No, they already suing
come
him.
on.
All of them are suing him.
The world and
yes.
Oh no, and he's not the man at that, right?
No, he's not on that.
Wow. James Brown wasn't talking to him. He's talking to black men. He's an idiot.
You know what he was saying? He said this is a man world where there wouldn't be nothing without a woman or a girl.
He forgot about that part. He forgot about that.
No, he was trying to tell the people that because he's having a breakdown.
Yeah, I think he's running out of time. Look, he's definitely out there. But what I see is that whole dilemma or whatever happened there was to kill time. I think that the man, he doesn't have much to talk about. I mean, there's so much, you could keep insulting, but it gets old too. So maybe they told him, look, we might just have to, switch it up. Play some music, or maybe he wanted to play music. I don't know.
And he played about 5 songs.
Oh yeah, and he was stiffer. He was stiffer than a dead man. You seen the way he's moving?
And the dumb lady, she didn't know what
somebody give that man some dancing lessons. Shit. I mean, he knows how to dance around questions like Sarge, but he don't know how to dance physically. Like, that's crazy.
But it was funny. I'm like,
the man. It goes to show you he has no like personality as far as he has a person, but he doesn't know how to interact, doesn't know how to get loose and and connect with people on a good level. Is the only way he connects with people, I think, is by insulting. So if you agree with him in insulting, they like that. He likes it. They like it. Everybody's happy. Once you start asking him questions or start saying, wait, you messed up on this, or I don't think you did this, that's when he gets mad. He start turning it on you and insulting you. I mean, that's just his strategy. I just don't see this man being happy. How you have all this money? I mean, you done ran the country. You say you did a great job, the best, besides Lincoln, and he's upset and freaking out and insulting people. I don't understand that mentality.
He's not freaking out. It's the people in his party that's freaking out because they're the one that's going over there to Kamala, leaving them and going over there to Kamala. Most people are not watching what the Republicans are doing. Half of them are leaving, and they keep on talking about she need men and she need this and she need that. No, they are coming along because they love their country. And they're not sticking with this man because they know what he's going to do to them or what he had done to them. And Stormy Daniels is back in the news again, too.
They're not going to vote for him behind closed doors.
I'm saying, but Stormy Daniels
I think he's going to lose. I keep saying it. I don't say I don't think. I know he's going to lose. He burnt up all his, like what they say, his freebies or, whatever he had that was going to help him is gone. He done exhausted all his, whatever bonuses he had, like a video game. Like, there's no more of that. It's gone. It's done. He done burnt himself out. Yes, he's out there every day because he has to be there every day so he could keep on the news cycle, to get whatever he could get. But he's gonna lose. He's gonna lose bad. I think she's gonna overwhelm. The numbers are gonna be more than usual.
But Stormy Daniels is back in the news again. He's trying to pay her off again because she wanted to pay her bill what she owed him when he won the lawsuit. And she was trying to get it so she could pay it off. And so her lawyer, she got it on tape and stuff where he's trying to make a deal for her to be quiet. Again. But that's going to be overlooked. But that's not my problem either. My problem is that he tried to overthrow the government. His own vice president won't even vote for him. So why would anybody else be crazy enough to do it? is what I'm trying to say when I hear the talking points and the talking heads. Oh, you got one person write an article. Huh?
Really bad in Germany. It was really bad. People were really suffering. That's when Hitler was able to, promote himself and get into power because people wanted a change. And so he's using a lot of those tactics.
No, he think this lady. He think he's been president for 8 years because everything was done through the Congress. They had to go through him. Anytime a dignitary come over here, where they got to go down to Mar-a-Lago? Why they got to go visit him? I understand that.
What are you talking about? The foreign leaders?
Yes. Why they got to go down there?
Yeah, because they got some kind of deal going on or something.
And they didn't have to go down. They didn't go to George Bush. They didn't go to Obama. Why they got to go to visit him? I told you think he's still president.
He's the Don. He's the Don.
And I thought there was some type of rule about whenever you get out of office, you ain't supposed to interfere with what's going on. But
nothing else, but he interfered. That should be against the law.
He been running a second administration on the sideline. That's just crazy.
Yeah, and then they run down there. The congressmen run down there and have a whatever little suggestion. But I'm like, where's Giuliani? Where's all these people that when he went to court that was standing up there, them congressmen that was everywhere he went. Well, they all went except Ted Cruz. He all in shock, in a state of shock.
Oh, they done ripped Ted Cruz a new a-hole. I just seen.
I hope he lose, man. That dude did good in that debate.
That's down there. He done dropped jewels there. I mean, I seen the debate part of it. I mean, he killed Ted Cruz on it, and Ted Cruz looked like a sorry fool. You know, he is a sorry man in general. It's one thing that you're a sorry politician, that he worked for this country, but he is a sorry human being. Like, I don't even know how his wife deals with him after Donald Trump insulted him in public, and this guy still kisses the ring. Like, that to me is not masculine. I'm just saying.
And then come to JD. We would like to know what he voted for while he was in Congress, since he talking about all this stuff. He was in Congress too. What did he vote for the people? Nobody never asked him them questions. The only person got to go somewhere is Kamala. Trump won't even go to 60 Minutes. He won't go nowhere because he acted the fool the last time he was there. Jumped up out the chair.
Kamala chewed out Brett Baer. Was it Brett Baer? She was going in.
She sure did. She
did real good. I played that interview tonight.
Yeah. I heard part of it, but I thought this dude was trying to counterattack, or ABC has a weird way of doing things. So I was like, I didn't even know. I said, let me find out this. I ain't gonna say, but yeah, I was like, oh no, Saturday night again, and so, but I heard it and I was like, oh okay, so he's letting it play out, and then I just listened a little bit and then I came back later, But yeah, I mean that was good what she did. And it shows you where she's at with it. He doesn't want to do certain interviews himself. They talking about her. You know why? Because she's the star. No, she's a woman, but she's the star right now. That's she should go there. You know why? There's demand for her. But why they don't ask Donald Trump? He got to go everywhere. Why they don't say, Donald Trump, answer all the questions when they interview you and stop diverting? They should have that rule. Say, listen, we want a yes or no diversions. No telling me a story about this or that. I need you to tell me yes or no when I ask you a question. It's that simple. Then you could get into something else. He doesn't do that.
He never answered the question.
Man, he ran them Hispanics round and round we go. Trust me. And they don't know English. He was playing them like fools. He probably said, man, I'm going to send your ass back if I become president. Please vote me in.
And then the ladies he was supposed to be speaking to, all of them was Fox women. All of them was like,
yeah. And this lady Harris, man, Harris should just marry. She should just marry Donald Trump.
No, she already married to somebody like Donald Trump with her cute self.
There you go.
But anyway, that was set up. Everything he does is set up. It's just like everything come out of Fox, they take it to all of the stations. And MSNBC, I'm glad she went there so they don't have to take it to all the stations. So everybody got that one came out of Fox.
There's nothing for them to take a clip from. Basically, the clip is from the damn channel. So what are you going to do? You know what I'm saying? You got to let the shit run, the whole thing run, right? I mean, of course, you're going to have some people that's going to chop up pieces or whatever they could do. But how are you going to insult the interviewer on your own network?
Yeah, I think she did excellent, man. I mean, I really do. She should go on there
No,
again.
she's sharp. She's sharp, and I like the way she put that dude Brett Baer in his place. She had to. She had to check him. She had to check him. He said, "Oh, you played that clip. That's not the clip we talking about."
Right.
Why are you trying to throw me up? He said, no. That's not the clip that we talking about. This. He said this on this. Why you ain't playing it? You see how they play their game? And she just counterattacked that. I was like, oh, I said, she's sharp like a needle. I said, they playing with the wrong one. She said, they asked her about the church and all this shit. She said, man, I was raised in a black church. I don't agree with churches, but I love when she said that because it's like, oh, you trying to take me away from our black community and black churches when you know that we're in that, embedded. But African Americans here in church, they deep into church. A lot of the older people. Boom, she hit them hard, and then she started naming people. Ooh, I was like, you see, you gotta watch your mouth. Watch your mouth.
No, you gotta
think
watch.
She went to a Hindu, Buddhist, a church or whatever, or you thought she was in the Rastafari, looking to Selassie I, which ain't nothing wrong with that either, because that's part of her culture. But it goes to show you prejudging her talking all this, and it ain't even that.
It's just that there's three groups of people. You got those that don't think a woman should be in charge, and you got those that hate women, and then you got those that just don't know what's going on. They just out there talking.
Right.
Yeah, that's why I said she got an uphill battle,
anyway.
but I think she'll do it because I don't know. America's still trying to get over that thing that she's a woman.
Ready for her. America is ready.
Yeah. They wasn't ready for Hillary, and Hillary also made her own mistakes. Hillary didn't want to go to certain communities that they told her. Yeah, she went to black communities, but she didn't go to the black communities they told her to go to. They said, we need you to come down here. We need you to help some of us over here that's doing stuff. Or we want to help you, so you got to come into our area so we could help, those local politicians that have they already have their people that's going to vote. They already is guaranteed more or less that they're going to win. It's Democratic, or they already have a Democratic following that's overwhelmingly, than Republican, right? And they told her, Hillary, come down here. She went into the more popular areas and all. They told her, you need to come down here. She didn't do it. That was part of her laws. Not to say that she didn't get the pop. We know that she got the popular vote, but that I believe that the electric also is connected to things like that. You got to go to certain states and cities. Or if not, you ain't gonna get that. So, I think she's learned from Obama, from Hillary, from Joe Biden as far as the do's and don'ts, and definitely Trump is she knows from the beginning to the end that he was. There's nothing really to learn about him. We already know what this man is. But she did learn, I'm pretty sure, from all the others, good and bad. Obama, what he did well that helped him, what didn't work, or what he should have done to make it better. Hillary, what she did more of messing up than winning, how she got the popular vote and missed the electoral. I'm pretty sure that her team is like they're really checking every corner and everything in the sense of making sure that they don't miss this. It's like everything is on the table. We got to go everywhere. Even Republicans. I'm going to Fox News.
Yeah, they going.
I'm going to all the places that they think I won't because we're going to grab some of those people and just hit them with reality. If I don't show up, they'll never know or hear from me. They'll only hear these sound bites that these newscasters grab or fake newscasters grab from other channels and put together whatever. Her speaking with Brett was really direct, and she was firm, and you could tell she's not one that's you're going to play around and walk around. I think that's what scares a lot of people too. Even certain individuals here, that she's not taking no shit. She's a serious woman that is going to be respected, period.
Can I say something? And the only people that are going to be hanging with Trump is those uneducated people that he likes. And those uneducated people that can't comprehend, those are the kind that are going to be sitting right here trying to bow for him, are the only ones going to be looking at. And ADD is one, Sarge is one, and
where's Sarge? Sarge, where you at, Sarge? He should have his pom-poms for Donald Trump right now, or have his Donald Trump dress on.
They're going to be having a tantrum because they can't talk about him, and he can't talk about what he's going to do for them. So that's what they say. 45% of the uneducated people are with Trump, and I really understand because I see how they run.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know nothing. They can't comprehend nothing. Everything they get from somewhere else can't think for themselves. Somebody got to think for them. And
yeah, I mean, at this point, they just ignoring, they just blatantly ignoring what Donald Trump is, and he wearing it on his shoulders.
Tyrone, I figured out something. You know when you were going, you'll get your degree. Somebody jealous because they don't have one. All they got to do is go get one. That's why they can't comprehend things, and they hate educated people. Because I hear them talking about educated people all the time. I'm like, oh, this is their problem. It don't take nothing but you to do is take some courses and get one too, and stop being envy of the people that have one. That's just how that goes. So that's the way I see it. That's who's gonna be following Trump. Let them keep on following him and let them have their day. Because when they take him out in the white jacket, which he's almost there. It don't take but 2 more punches to him when she get finished with him, or either people asking him a question where he won't go answer. But we got to get answers from her, and we still don't know who she is. So that's the way I see it. And if I don't need nobody to see it the way I do, but if you can think, you can see. So keep on thinking Trump gonna be y'all man. His 8 years is up because he's been there for 8 years. Everywhere he go, he got to take the flags and everything like he's still the president. So he gonna go on down to Mar-a-Lago or gonna go on down to some jail cell or something. Like it or not, that's just where it's gonna be. ADD. So Sanch and ADD, y'all got to get it together and hold yourself together so y'all won't be on y'all knees crying. Y'all have a good one.
All right. Yeah, not only that, you got the people that's trying to protect Donald Trump too, these judges and the Supreme Court. They literally changing the laws to protect this man. I've never seen anything like this.
They think that America's gonna go back to what it was. It's crazy to think that in this time. I mean, it's not gonna happen. It's not. You know, I don't think that's. I mean, there's stupid people in this country. I'm sorry to say. You know, we all ignorant to something. You know, but these people are ignorant to basic shit, and it's foul. It's sad. But it's not enough of them. It's not enough dummies in this country. I think there's some dummies, but you have some smart people here. And they're not gonna
there's a lot of them, Jay. I mean, I'm finding out that a lot of these people either they just they don't give a shit about the country, or they just blatantly racist, or they don't care about democracy. They just don't care. It's the same people that was wagging their finger at the black community, telling us that we need to do right, we need to listen, we need to follow the law. This country is about patriotism. All of them same motherfucking people don't give a damn about this damn country, man. Hell, Sarge was one of them. You know, Sarge come on here every time something happened to like Trayvon Martin or Tamir Rice or whatever. He would come on here and quote the rules and the laws and all this kind of shit. And now that, you know, he's supporting a damn criminal, none of that shit don't matter no more. It's crazy. It is crazy. All right, y'all done got quiet. Y'all know I ain't got shit to talk about. So what I'm going to do, YouTube, I'm getting ready to shut you guys down. And I appreciate you guys calling in. I will be calling in tomorrow night too also. So like I said, I came on tonight
because there's going to be more news to talk about, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. I just came on tonight early by mistake. Because I seen Kamala Harris up there.
It was good.
I seen Kamala Harris up there kicking bare ass, and I wanted to, I guess I got on here wanted to talk about it. So that was pretty good. But guys, y'all have a good night, and I'm gonna open the line, and YouTube, y'all can call in if y'all want to.
Q&A session is over. All participants are unmuted.